Cool. Now it is connecting with the Facebook and Facebook event. ADRIFT. Next. No permission to upload video. How it could be. So, okay, let's try one more time. Okay, we are trying one more time to connect it with the Facebook. Let's try to do it here. Okay. Okay, next. Yeah, hopefully now it is connecting, and if it is already on the air, hello everybody. And now it will take some time to connect it to the Facebook page. Let's see. Yes, I guess it works. Okay, we are going live. Let's... So there's still some connection between Zoom and Facebook. Yeah, ready. Facebook told me that it is ready.
Yeah, I can see on the Facebook that we are already on air.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone, and hello to my colleagues on this screen today. And let me introduce you to Paul Rosero Contreras, the artist. The show of Paul we are opening today. It is called ADRIFT, Becoming Ocean, and we are going to learn everything about this show today. And Anastasia Glebova, co-founder of the art platform, and we are also going to speak a lot about digital art and all the great discoveries that you can do on the art platform. Hi guys, and yeah, congratulations! I'm happy to see you. And the first word I would give to Anastasia to tell us some words about the platform where we are going to expose with this beautiful project. Anastasia.
Hi, Anna. Yeah, thank you so much for creating this event. Yeah, huge congratulations both to Paul for the first exhibition on the VR platform, and of course to you as a curator and as a CEO of Thatcher's Art Management, which is a partner of the project, because today it's not only the first exhibition on the VR platform by Paul, but also the first exhibition and the grand opening of the Thatcher's Art Space, a new space for digital art, for curatorial projects by Ada and her colleagues. So welcome to the platform. And from my side, I would I would of course say that we have spent a couple of months on creating this project. We will discuss it later, but we faced lots of new technical parts, because what the artist sees is not always what we get from the technical parts. And for us, it's also a huge step in terms of understanding the space, because the main idea behind all the virtual spaces or the virtual gallery spaces that we have on VR is that you are limited only by your imagination. You don't have the walls, you don't have the descriptions. And without her colleagues, so get more freedom, but at the same time, more complexity when we are creating great projects. So thank you, Anna. Thank you, Paul, for devoting so much of your time and so much of your passion for this project. I'm sure it will be a huge success. So please, all the visitors that we will get, please do not forget to leave your message, because from this week, VArt also has a new feature that you can share your ideas, share your comments with other people and with the creators of the gallery space, exactly being in the space. So if you see the artwork, click the messages and leave your comments.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so Paul,
later also. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello. Thank you so much. Thanks for the introduction and thanks for everything. I'm very happy. I'm very glad to open this show. As you said, this is the result of work that we have done the last few months during the pandemic. So we can consider this project as a response to the current situation, right? For me, my practice is not usual to work only digitally or only on virtual platforms. But because of this situation, we decided to try this sort of experiment, right? And I think this is important to mention because the digital platform and these virtual reality engines, for video games development or different applications, are new possibilities to distribute artworks, keep distributing and sharing ideas. And in this case, it's also a possibility to try to go further, no, out of the limits, out of the what is possible. That's what is important for me in this project, right? To try to construct this world, which is not based on something totally real, but the idea of fiction, no, and try to push forward these fictional narratives that I'm interested in. So thank you so much for the work that the people taking part of the BArt platform have done, especially Anton and Nicola. And I want to thank especially to two people that have worked with me in this project, Mateo Barragan and Nicolas Torres. They produce along with me the virtual world and the objects. I think the result is also kind of a representation of this good chemistry that we had in this team, in this international team, interconnected via Zoom and all these things. So that's it for now. I guess we're gonna explore the show later, so we can talk a little bit more about the concept.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. And also a little bit later, Anton Velichka, CTO and co-founder of VArt, will join us to explain some specific technological aspects of this show that were like incredibly challenging for us. I think you will agree with me. We're working with light and special effects and some textures, and we will speak about it a little later. Now I will try to show you, to show our guests, to show our audience how it is all working. And I'm asking my colleagues to post those links who will lead you to download the application, because it's always better that you can do it in your autonomous way, downloading it to your mobile phone or to your tablet. For example, I have it here in my phone, such a beautiful logotype, and you are entering. I'm not going to show everything from my phone in this way. We prepared the video that will show how this application works, and to show the show itself. Let's try to do it. And
yeah, it's also really important that you don't have to search for the application on Google Store or App Store. You have a special link. So these links that we are sharing, we have 3 language versions on the application. So English, Russian, and Ukrainian, of course. So you can click on which language you prefer, and it will immediately be forwarded to your Google Store or App Store in case you haven't downloaded the application yet. So no need to go somewhere, simply click the link, and it's easy to intuitively understand what to do next.
Yeah, great. So you will see the links now below the video, below this online on Facebook, and I definitely recommend you to upload this application. And now we are going to this digital world. Let me share. Okay. Show this thing, and we are going here. Let me know if my screen is shared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So when you're entering the application, you can see different exhibitions, but the one that we are opening now, it is called ADRIFT, Becoming Ocean. And you can see this like icon and the picture. So let me see how I can move this thing not to disturb us. And yeah, and we are entering. So entering, you can see all the information about the gallery and the exhibition itself, the kind of long explanation about what you're going to see. And then you are just enter the gallery, and it is uploading all the information, and we are going to enter. Welcome. And we decided to do this kind of intro, this video, and you can see all the space. And now, when you already like feel the ambient, we are entering. And here I give my word to Paul.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about let's say the installation or the circuit, right? How is thought, how it is planned. Well, the project surrounds the idea of water in different states. So the first piece is this iceberg, which is a piece I photographed in Antarctica back in 2013 during a first exploration I did there. So this piece is the starting point, since I consider an iceberg a sort of container of life support, container of biological emergence, or container of a sort of continuum of the ecosystems on Earth. So from that perspective, I wanted to think in the story of what it's possible to see when an iceberg goes adrift on this case on the Pacific Ocean, right? And this idea is also related, for instance, with different stories. If we remember the story of the Titanic, for instance, the Titanic, crashed to an iceberg that was adrift on the ocean, right? Totally isolated, alone there, and this iceberg, it was still alive, let's say, until some years ago. So the same iceberg that was bigger at that time, kept going and going and going and just melting down and traveling around, right? So somehow this element, which is the solid state of water, is for me is a sort of entity, right? That it has a close relationship to what we need to survive on the planet, right? So regardless that the iceberg is going adrift by itself, like alone in the middle of the ocean, that entity has a close relationship to the survival of the planet itself, right? So I was thinking in this kind of long distance relationship that supposedly is not clear, or is not easy to relate, but we live nowadays on this kind of a difficult situation in terms of climate. So we are always talking about icebergs, talking about glaciers, talking about the how to keep the poles and the water reservoirs in a frozen state, right? Otherwise, the problems that these fragmentations or these breakings apart can produce, right? So that is the starting point, right? Try to take this iceberg as an entity, as an entity that probably can see, and we can play with the idea of seeing through the eyes or through the gaze of this iceberg. So that's the first piece.
And I want to pay attention of our guests, of the guests of our opening, that here you can see the eye sign, and you can read information about each object, and also you can discuss the object that you can see and leave your opinion, or I don't know, to express your emotions here in this chats option. So when you will download the application, please use it, and we will be happy to read your comments about the exhibition. And
so this main chat icon is for the general chat in the gallery. So if you want to leave comment to one certain artwork, you can click the eye signs that you see here, and you will be forwarded to the page of the artwork. We will show you how to do it later, and leave your comment about exactly this artwork below.
And we continue. Unfortunately, on this video, we cannot hear the sound, but the sound here is fantastic, absolutely, because we were working on sound like with special attention, and on the application, you can hear the water, you can hear the fire. So I invite you to explore it. Yeah.
I'm afraid of spiders, so for me, it's always the most terrific moment when I'm coming closer to this artwork.
Paul?
Okay, so this other piece is related, let's say, to the time in which water encounters a rock or a continent in this case, and how there's an interaction between these two elements, right? In this case, what you see here is a video in which a spider is playing on the spider web, and the spider web has these water drops on it. So what I did is This is also a piece from 2013, based on a research on how interconnect different worlds, how to use this notion of interspecies communication or interspecies collaboration. So I work along with a friend of mine, another Ecuadorian artist called Kwai Shen, and we did this expedition to this cloud forest, in which we started trying these different mechanisms, these different devices we developed beforehand, in order to connect these ideas, right? In order to connect a digital world with the biological world, mediated by technology, human-made, let's say. So in this video, what you see is the result of a camera which is monitoring, is tracking the spider's movements, the spider's legs, and how these legs interact on the spider web, and this interaction is translated into sound as a sort of digital piano. So let's say in short words that the idea is to make a spider play piano, right? So in this case, what you see in the video is this interaction in which there's this movement of the spider, and you see the web, and how the drops that are on the web are also interacting in this let's say musical composition that is happening biologically driven. So in this case, let's say in the context or in the framework of the project, what I wanted to play with is the relationship between water and these other non-human species, right? So let's say that is the second part of this show. This is the second or the next step within this circuit.
And we continue. And we are getting closer to the spider, Anastasia. Take care. And I invite all those guests of our opening who have any questions to leave these questions in the comments to this video, to this online that you see now on Facebook. We will be very happy and curious to see your questions.
Okay, so that's another piece that is called this piece is a sort of, it's called Proposal for a Monument. So I was wondering how a monument or within this situation, this global situation, when we have seen the all these let's say all these voices, talking about colonialism, talking about the history of oppression, and how these ideas are represented or perpetuated in different monuments of people that did something in the past, right? So this is a question, of representation. This is a question that is a very interesting and a very important topic for people working with images, people working with representation in the public space as well. So let's say this is a little bit the concept of this piece. So I've been exploring the idea of representation, of the possibility of non-representative objects in the space, right? So I wanted to try a sort of object that does not represent human history, but an element that is fundamental for humankind and the survival of the species itself. So in this case, is this sort of a water column in the form of a vortex, or that is moving, right? That is moving, and you can get into it. And when you get into it, is also the idea of, you know, being inside the phenomena, being inside of let's say, quoting or remembering some other artworks. There's also the idea of trying to approach the phenomena from first hand, right? So this project itself has a lot to do with volcanoes, the whole space, the other videos, because of that idea, right? So in this case, it's also related to some other works. Let's say I can think in, for instance, Francis Alice, right? He has this series of videos in which he gets into tornadoes, small tornadoes with a video camera, and shot filming, you know, filming the kind of the relationship and this crazy effect that of being inside the phenomena, right? So in this case, these concepts, these notions are influencing this piece, right? And also the possibility, once again, of producing something that probably in the physical world will be very difficult to make, right? This sort of geyser, you know, kind of under control geyser, which is something kind of critical to do, right? In the real world, I don't think the idea is to control nature, but understanding and developing different relationships, right? So so that's the idea of this object in this case.
Yeah, and I can add that to work on this object was very difficult because we had a clear idea how we wanted to be like visible, and we were very strict in this case because we wanted these water particles to be special, this special quality of water. So we are pretty happy with the result that we finally got. Look at this beauty. It's fantastic. Yeah, we were even trying to get inside, but now we are not going to do it, and we are moving.
Firstly, we had this functionality so you can see kind of from within. So the whole exhibition, the whole space is covered by water when you are inside. But then we decided to remove this kind of functionality because it was actually a bug.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so so here we have the dreamers. This piece is called the dreamers, right? It's this group of iguanas. These iguanas came from another project I did in 2016 in Galapagos in Isabella Island, right? In Isabella Island, there is a very particular species of iguana called the pink iguana. Pink iguana, for me, is this very mysterious and enigmatic animal that relies on the volcano where they inhabit, and they only live there next to the crater of World Volcano. There's a short group of iguanas, totally endemic of the place, right? There's no other iguanas of this kind in the world. So in this scenario, the ideas that I mentioned before, right? This relationship with non-human species, and how the volcano as this very powerful entity defines the life of these animals, or the life of us. I live here in Quito, and we are surrounded by volcanoes. Our life is very defined because of this situation, right? This is and the Los Andes, an Andean environment, right? So there is this let's say, this idea of this relationship between, let's say, these powerful forms of nature, and the idea of how an iguana can be pink, or how an iguana can be green, or can be black in the case of the marine iguanas. So what I was wondering in this case is um, how to use this animal as a metaphor, as a vehicle to talk about color discrimination, to talk about perception of color scheme, right? Because in the pink iguana, there is some part supposedly translucent, transparent, and you see the blood of the animal, and not the color of it. So for me, this is, let's say, this vehicle to explore these ideas of perception, and how to break down these structures of discrimination among societies based on skin color, right? So in the case, in the context of the show, we are in the middle of the ocean here, and there's these different explorers. We are gonna go next to the boat, right? The boat as a sort of analogy of the explorer, or these transoceanic travels, right? And the Galapagos in this history took a very important role, because pirates, buccaneers, and explorers during centuries used the island as a stop to get supplies, right? And some obviously the supplies were animals, right? Especially turtles, because turtles survive without food for months. So for these sailors, taking a lot of turtles ensure um, ensure food, ensure fat, ensure some different goods that they could take from these animals, right? So in this case, the iguanas also play a role as characters of these different narratives that are told in these stories, and they are watching the video that is this two channel video, in which the iguana itself are the characters. So it's a sort of idea of trying to set the conditions for animal consciousness, right? uh, yeah, let's say that this is the idea, kind of non-human cinema.
Yeah, I was saying that we were also working a lot on the quality of these iguanas, how they should look like. Something icy, but these blue eyes. Yeah. Yeah, and now here you can see how it works when you put the button information. I will stop here because I am sure that Paul has something to say about this beautiful boat that is in flame.
Yeah, precisely as I said, the boat, this in the imaginary of human history, right? The boat is this device, this artifact that allows you to own what is go beyond to what is possible to see, right? So so in this case, we have a sort of old-fashioned, old model of a boat that is, stuck in this island, and it has this fire which is constantly happening. Kind of representing or remembering the process of going to somewhere, taking over the space, colonizing the space, kind of colonizing nature as well. And in this case, what I wanted to do is a sort of gesture of burning up this sort of history represented in this object, right? And this is next to the videos in which you can see a human character, which is the only human character inside the show. Let's say a character that could arrive there because of this boat, and also because of the use of domestic animals, right? So in this video, that's why the boat is next to the video, but because in which you see the history of some of the first people inhabiting the islands, coming from Europe, right, using boats, obviously, and then kind of installing houses and settlements inside of this very isolated island at the time, during the first decades of the 20th century.
Yeah, so personally, it's my favorite piece among all that we have in the space, because it's so impressive. Like the first time when I saw this object, I was really mesmerized by the animation of the fire. So now we have, of course, a still image. So Anna, can you please proceed with the video so that our visitors can see how the fire actually moves?
Yeah, and in application, you can even hear all these fires, so it's even more alive and more real when you're entering with the application from your mobile phone or from tablet. Yeah, probably I will stop here, that Paul can describe what we can see now, this two-channel video.
Okay, so let's say that this is the main piece of the exhibition. This is a film, two-channel film that I've been producing for the last 3 years, since 2016 to 2019. I premiered this video last year in Brazil. So in this case, what you see is precisely this sort of reconstruction of part of a history of these first people arriving to the Galapagos, right? Or these first people conforming communities. So there is two channels, from underwater and above water. So on the right channel, you have most of the footage related to volcanoes, to the crater of the volcano, inside the crater in these sulfur mines. Meanwhile, on the left side, there's underwater footage of another active volcano called Roca Redonda, in which I run a research along to Margarita Brandt and Natalie Guevara, two marine biologists working with microbes and also especially corals, let's say, or sessile animals. So in this case, we were investigating the relationship between this acidic environment produced by the volcano, the active volcano, uh, producing these CO2 bubbles, right? The CO2 bubbles that naturally the volcano emits generates an acid environment along the water column, let's say. So we were investigating these animals that are adapting to this acid ocean as a sort of future monster that is able to survive in a contaminated world. So we need to mention here that the acidification of the ocean acidification is an effect of the contamination of the environment, right? The ocean absorbs CO2 from the environment, and this produces a change on the pH of the water pH, right? And as well as when there's a change on temperature, this affects a lot to the animals, especially to the animals that cannot move, those ones that are attached to rocks or to reefs, right? So in this case, we found this coral called Tubastrea cochinea, or called orange cup coral, which is adapting to this acid environment and proliferating in the proximities of these seeps, volcanic seeps. So let's say, you can think of this animal as another entity, as another species that is going to live in this place, right? And there is this analogy to these Europeans coming from in that case Germany, especially to live this sort of paradisiacal life in this isolated archipelago. So the video tells a story of these people from the 30s, 40s in the past century, and this current situation, which is a sort of biological response to anthropogenic activity, right? So there is two times, and there is also these two levels, these different levels of approaching this idea. So, and there's footage from the Smithsonian archives. There's also footage from this artist, filmmaker that lived in Ecuador for years, called Rolf Blomberg, that they have an archive here, and they very nicely allowed me to use these archives to produce this film. So the film is telling the story of these people coming from Germany to one of the island, especially Dr. Ritter, who was a philosopher, reading Nietzsche's philosophy, and also an odontologist, a dentist, who came from Berlin along with his wife Dora, and they settled in this island, right? And this story became a very interesting story when some other people from Germany followed them, because of the publication of letters. Dr. Ritter used to send letters about their lives in the island, and this letter ended up in newspapers in Berlin. So people got attracted because of this and followed them to live in the same place. So they were very pissed. They were kind of, oh no, we came here to live alone, and you are following us. So there's some part of this story in this film as well. On the other hand, there is this other character that kind of represents the human in the present, exploring the volcanoes and exploring different parts of the island, kind of understanding the relationship of this volcanic environment and the different and explosion of biodiversity in the space. So I will say that that's the description of the film, and the film is called Dark Paradise: Humans in Galapagos.
Yeah, and here I want to say something that, okay, now we are traveling and we are using video to show you how this exhibition works. But when you are entering there using the application on your smartphone or your tablet, you can see these movies, you can see these 2 channels video and spend so much time as you can to enjoy it. And it's really worth it. And we are moving to the next object, traveling in this digital world. And now you can see this amazing, fantastic object. And now, Paul, what is it? Let's come back a little bit.
This is also a digital sculpture that kind of it's something that happened inside the space, right? When I was kind of constructing the concept, I saw these rocks as a possibility, right? And what is the object or the piece kind of telling inside the whole show is the idea of a historical meeting between two kind of sailors of the Pacific Ocean. The ones coming from let's say Chile, let's say in the South Pacific, and some other coming from the equatorial part, the tropical part of the Pacific, let's say next to Ecuador or Peru. So what I wanted to imagine is this encounter of these experts in navigation that were able to travel long distances along the Pacific coast, right? And how there is these other side stories or rumors of native people arriving to the Galapagos before the Spanish people, right? So I wanted to emphasize these, let's say, these side stories, these proof stories of possibilities of previous inhabitants in the islands, right? Because the islands supposedly were discovered by the Spanish, as well as America supposedly were discovered by the Spanish as well, no? And I want to mention also this because we live constantly on this colonial discourse, right? I don't know if you have seen recently this news of these prehistoric paintings discovered in Colombia recently. That's not true. Those paintings have been there for decades, and scientists in Colombia have been studying these paintings for decades. But for the Western world, it's something that is discovered because they didn't know before. You follow the idea, right? So in this case, this object, this sculpture here, according to archaeologists, represents these meetings of native sailors of the Pacific Ocean. That's the idea of it. A sort of also a response to colonial discourses, right?
Yeah, yeah. Very interesting. One of my favorite objects, to tell the truth. So fantastic. Yeah, and now we are going out of the space to see these islands, to see this cave from outside, and it is fantastic. And we also worked a lot on the texture of these rocks. And finally, together with the technical team, we found this solution that we were completely satisfied, because now it's looked like really like volcanic rock. Paul, what do you think?
Okay, let's say that the whole environment, this sort of abandoned island, or kind of ruins of some sort of, I don't know, amphitheater, or some sort of, I don't know, like Colosseum. I wanted to create a space that is self-sufficient, and this has to do a lot with my projects from 2011, when I was researching a lot and using a lot the ideas of these two Chilean biologists, Humberto Maturana and Francisco Varela. They invented this concept of autopoiesis, no? Autopoiesis, kind of self-production, right? This idea of a system that is self-sufficient, that has the capacity of self-produce itself. I mean, self or being independent, right? Because it has all the elements needed to produce life by itself, let's say. So I wanted to think in this kind of world, which is adrift, right? Living by itself on the ocean, without the need of human presence, without the need of intervention to keep life going. So the idea of autopoiesis for me has been a very deep inspiration in those senses, because you can think geopolitically also that idea, right? We don't need intervention of other nations to produce our goods. We don't need this thing. We don't need this other thing. But somehow the world is structured in this way. So the space itself wanted to represent a sort of escape of this logic, right? A sort of life that is possible by itself. So in this case, it has to do with this, and also had to do with the idea of, some at some point, if you are in the middle of the ocean, you probably will find something that is unknown, right? And there I I I came across some ideas of another project that I did, that I wrote but I never did, which was the story of a person adrift on the Pacific Ocean more than 1 year by himself. Right? There's this story of this guy from El Salvador who started this journey from Mexico and ended up in the Marshall Island because of this problem. The engine of his boat got broken, and he survived somehow. And so there's a book about this experience, and he mentions that the way in which he managed to survive was based on imagination, was based on letting himself go with hallucinations, right? He was like, without food, a lot of sun, and all this situation, and he said that for him the only way to kind of support and resist this situation, it was hallucinating that he was in a different place. So he said that when he was hunting, let's say fish, or hunting a bird, or hunting a turtle, whatever, and he started eating, he was imagining that he was having a banquet, an amazing food, right? And how you can trick yourself using imagination, or using or letting your imagination go wild, right? So I was thinking, how it's possible to do that in the middle of the ocean, and how the ocean can offer you this possibility of imagine different worlds, imagine different possibilities, imagine different situations, and by extension, imagine different relationship between species as well.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you. And I put this video again to see the exhibition for those who didn't download the application yet. And here we see Anton Velichka, CTO and co-founder of VR platform. Hi, Anton. And first of all, we are extremely happy and grateful to you and Mikola, who were helping us to create this world. And I have a question for you, really. Was it difficult for you as a person working like with this technical stuff and digital that is very precise and so on? Was it difficult for you to make a reality from artists' imagination? What it was for you, your experience?
Hi, I'm also happy to be here with you on this opening, and I think the experience working with artists is also exciting because it's surprising to me, but artists often are very precise in what they want and what they expect, and they can easily articulate those expectations and helping us with the development, basically. So yeah, the experience was really smooth and exciting, and I'm really happy that I see the final result, and it's really exciting one.
So you're also very satisfied and very surprised.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, great. And here we have some questions from our audience. For example, to Paul. Paul, is it your first experience of making online exhibition? What do you think about it? How do you feel about it? And what are the main, let's say, problems and difficulties that you had to come across during the process of preparation?
Okay, those are a few questions in one. Okay, so first, I think, yeah, it's my first solo show, let's say, in this digital form. But I work as a teacher at the Universidad San Francisco de Quito in the art department, and we have there a gallery, a physical gallery. But when the pandemic or the lockdown started, I proposed to my colleagues running the gallery to transform the physical space into a virtual one. So we did that with the help of another colleagues, Mark Bueno, who as well as Anton, etc. They work with Unity and all these VR platforms, right? So we created that gallery, that virtual gallery, to show the work of our students first, right? So that I will say that during this pandemic, I started that thing first, right? Kind of thinking how to keep the students on track of exhibiting and showing the results of projects, and especially the ones that were in the last years, right? They needed to show the final exhibition. And then I think by September, I took part of another virtual gallery. I took part of this show at Epoch Gallery, which is a gallery created by people in Los Angeles, right? Peter Wu. And I found this project very interesting, right? Because they also created these spaces to show work very different to the standard ones, right? To the white cube. So I took part of this show in which the environment was a labyrinth, right? And my work was this big crowd, which has a coral inside, as their heart, let's say. So that will be that was something also during the pandemic, let's say. And then we did this show, right, which is a solo show, incorporating different pieces and all this concept that I just explained. Let's say that's the last things. But in 2011, I was studying this master in science using interactive media, and that was my first approach to this virtual reality engines, especially this one, Unity and all the things. I know that there's some others right now, but I used that one to produce this space, which was part of the research that they gave me to do. And the space was representing the interconnectivity between the two brain hemispheres. So you were inside this room exploring kind of inside a huge human brain, how it's interconnected and how different parts reacts to different stimuli, right? So that was let's say my first time using this kind of technology. And for me, it was very difficult because I didn't know how to program. I had to learn a lot. I had to ask for help a lot, etc. And also, this kind of software totally destroyed my computer. So because it's very heavy, no? So you need a lot of RAM, a lot of memory, etc. So I hate it, and I stopped using it. So for all these years till this moment, in which because of the pandemic, I turned back again to this kind of technology to work, right? But in this case, as I said before, this project is the result of a team effort, right? In which Mateo and Nico were very involved, working with me. And then we sent the whole virtual space, the whole 3D environment to Anton and Nicola to start the interactivity, the shaders, a lot of things that we changed before, and to get the result what we just saw. So that's the let's say my story with these kind of digital exhibitions.
Yeah, and from the point of view of producer, I can say that when somebody will tell you that to make the physical exhibition is easier, don't believe them. Don't believe these people, because to make a digital show, it is really like some challenging experience where you have to think about all the details, the light, the special effects, the sound, and the client user's experience, right? So you should understand how the person should enter, what people should see, and it should be comfortable, it should be clear, it should be clean, it should be a lot of requirements to the digital show now. And I'm very happy that Anastasia, Anton, and all the team, that you have very high level of requirements to your product to your baby, that is VR platform, and we are happy that we have the same sense of quality, right? Because now when we are all in this pandemic situation, we see a lot of digital shows, but sometimes it's just like, okay, something, whatever. And here we really put a lot of efforts. And also, I wanna say thank you to my team, to Teachers Arts Management, to those beautiful ladies, Ksenia and Maria, who were helping us now with PR, international PR, because I think that digital art is very uniting kind of art, and it is understandable in all the planet, and all the planet artists from around the world, they are trying to do the best art shows. And now I'm happy that we, with Paul and the art team, we did this show, and really congratulations to all of us. And that's fantastic. And if anybody from our guests from our Facebook Live have any more questions, please send them now, because now we are about to finish. And I want to give also a word to Anastasia Beck. What are the plans of VR platform? And tell us more. And several days ago, we finished open call, space open call, and we are going to work more and on this amazing show that will be in the space. That's fantastic. Anastasia, tell us more.
Yeah, so you asked about the plans. I will try to keep it as short as possible. So yeah, exactly. Now we have released a new functionality, namely the virtual chat, exactly before today's exhibition started. And for us, it means a new kind of epoch in terms of what we are doing with the space. So VR platform, small reminder, it's a platform to exhibit, sell, and collect digital art. So now we are talking about the exhibit part. So in the plans of the VR platform is to create, collect, and invest. So it is planned already for the next year to do a full marketplace, and of course to release a web version of the VR platform. Since now you can, of course visit our website and see the information how to install the application, but the mechanics, so the whole immersive experience with art is enabled in the application. And also the third crucial step for us is to enable AR, so augmented reality. So you can not only visit the space, but also kind of bring the space to your home or to your office or wherever you are. So basically, from the parts of the general development is our three crucial points. And also, yeah, exactly as Anna has mentioned before, we have recently finished the space open call. It was really a great success. So in just 3.5 weeks and 25 days, we have collected 202 applications from the same amount of artists. And overall, they are from every continent, from 5 continents, so from 51 countries. And we are really happy and already starting a reviewing process with our international jury, and the results are to be announced by 11th of January. And the show will take place in February. So so stay in touch and subscribe to the VR's Facebook or Instagram page so that you can get most updated information about future space art stations that we are creating.
Yeah, that's great, Anton. It's one more challenge now, because we already started this research about what are the spaceships, and we are working together with a real space architect, Barbara Inninghoff, and that will be fantastic. I'm absolutely sure that will be fantastic.
Yeah, it's for me, it's always pretty funny to see Anton's face when I'm talking about the art space station. Yeah, because it's another challenge for the whole team.
Yeah, but it's really enjoyable challenge. So we learned a lot, and you know, when you see the result, you're really excited.
Yeah, great. And I wanted to underline what Anastasia was also telling in the beginning, that with this exhibition of Paul Rosero Contreras, we, Teachers Arts Management, finally opened our gallery. And this is a digital gallery, and we are going to show amazing projects from around the world without any limits of age, sex, or anything else. And that is, let's say, our challenge and an experiment to show some curatorial projects from different countries of the world about the topics that are really interesting for us. And I already know what we are doing next, what we are doing in spring and summer. So stay in touch, subscribe to our social networks, subscribe to VR social networks, and it will be something absolutely challenging. And I think that the new year that is coming will show us something more that we need to know about digital art. And thank you, Anastasia, Paul, Anton. Thank you to the team who was working on the backstage. And see you on the next show. And good luck, everybody.
Okay. Well, just to finish, I want to also to thank to my university. Most of the work that is produced or is shown here in this project has a close relationship to the research that I conduct in the school. I'm working on these audiovisual platforms to as different resources for pedagogical processes and education, right? So in this case, as I said, there's a lot of history involved in this project, in this exhibition, and I take also part of these experiments and these surveys of how these different platforms generates knowledge or are vehicles for cognitive processes. So from that perspective, I wanted to mention that because some funds, some resources are coming from Universidad San Francisco de Quito, from the community outreach department, and especially also to my students that were helping or my collaborators working along. And once again, thanks to VR, Anastasia, Anton, for your great work and all the support, all the details, all the very short and disposition to adjust everything till the end, just to get kind of a nice result. And also especially Anna, because all of this work and because basically you interconnect all of us. So thank you so much, and the show is open, and I think will be open without limit of time, right? So so I hope that people can enjoy the show and start some sort of interaction through the chat or whatever other medium.
Yeah, so I totally agree. Huge thanks both to Anna, Paul, and of course the technical team, which is always somewhere at the backstage, and of course to my technical team as well, and to our project manager who helped us. So all of these people helped to create the final result. So you can see here a work of 10 people, and yeah, so 4 of us are here. So thanks to everyone. Please comment in the chat section. What do you think about exhibition, about some parts of it, if you want to raise a question? And you are always welcome on the VR pages if you have an interesting project which you are planning to recreate due to the lockdown. You cannot do it in a physical space, or you have a total digital show. Please connect us on Facebook or reach out personally to me. We will see what we can do, since now we have such a great experience with really complex technical projects.
Yeah, felicidades, поздравления, congratulations.
Витание.
Вот, теперь все, теперь хватает всего. Спасибо, друзья. Thank you very much. And We will see everybody in the show on the application. Download it now. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.